All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We had some rain this morning. Overcast, a little bit of rain. Sun's coming in and out. So, uh, all right, the Delphi case, right? I've been looking at it, right? And they had his car at a certain time. Now, here's the thing my question is up here in Indiana in the north, we change our time, right? There's a time change. Now, I don't know when that occurs. It just recently occurred last month or a month before or whatever. Now, I don't know if it's different, right? But I just think for some reason they got the time wrong. That the girls were there earlier than what they said. And I do believe he's already leaving. Now, I could be wrong, but I do believe the photo that they have of his car was caught on surveillance video at like 1:30. Well, if it's true about the time change, then yes, it would have been somewhere around 12 to 12:30, not 1:30. So is that possible? It's possible. Now I could be wrong, but I think they got the whole time thing wrong. And if that's the case, then yes, he had plenty of time to do whatever. Take the girls and bring them back and plant them before the search even happened. That's true. That's possible. I don't know if it's true, but it is possible that that happened. Now, for some reason, I just feel like they got something wrong. The time, right? It is his car. No way around it. He was there. He did say he was there. Like I said, I don't know. Surveillance video said 1:30. All right, but I believe they were already gone. I think he was leaving. It was already done. He was doing whatever. Uh, I don't know. Did he have inside scoop that no one would be looking to him for him until 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever? They were supposed to call for a ride when they were ready to be picked up, or someone was supposed to pick them up at a certain time. So, is it possible? Well, yeah, it's very well possible that they got the time wrong, right? There was numerous ways that. Now, to be honest, I wasn't there, so I don't know if Richard Allen or whoever did these murders did them. You know, we weren't there. The public wasn't there. Whoever was there, this was a very staged thing. Others probably did know about it, but weren't there, right? I believe that's very well possible. And even so, people are like, well, one man couldn't do all this. And well, one man could if he didn't have to carry anything or carry the girls or anything like that. And they left on their own will, but not their own will, meaning their own power, right? He didn't have to carry them or do anything. That's true. And it makes better sense to me that he did park at the cemetery because he was comfortable there because that's where he went when he went fishing. Now I don't even know if that story's true. That one of his friends, close friends, talked and said he loved to go fishing and he parked at a certain spot. Whoever this person is that they're talking about, whether it be Richard Allen or not, uh, somebody did the murders at that time, and they know somebody did it, and maybe the police, maybe Richard, maybe something, maybe Richard was caught other than DNA. You know, I'm going to be pulling up many cases, many that it was a bloody mess, horrible, and not one piece of DNA was left behind. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Well, there was no DNA there. They don't need DNA. They solved crimes before DNA was created, and crime using DNA and forensics. Uh, they used old-fashioned uh, boots on the ground, crime solving. And if they solved many, many cases without DNA before DNA was created, then there's evidence that's there that they don't need. They don't need DNA. If 1 and 1 makes 2, that's their guy. And a lot of people are all pissed off, right? The DNA don't match. Well, we've had there was no DNA left at some of the Charlie Manson stuff. There was no DNA left at the Zodiac killer. There was no DNA left in many cases. But them cases were solved. Some of them weren't. So is it possible they got the time wrong? And Richard Allen at 1:30, well, really, if there was a time change, whether it's an hour ahead or an hour of time down there down south, I'm not sure how deep that time change goes. But right now and we just changed the clocks. What, February or month before, or just recently? The time right now is 12:44. But really, I'm looking on the clock on the wall that I did not change, and it's 11:44. So it might be an hour ahead down there, being that it wasn't 1:30 or 1:24 that they seen his car. It was 2:34, and he was leaving. See, I think something fishy in that case now. I think they got the right guys. I mean, there's many guys they locked up in this case. People just failed to see it. They couldn't put 2 and 2 together. They couldn't connect the dots, right? Keegan Kline, people are screaming, well, he didn't do it, so he has nothing to do with it. He was a stalker. He was a pedophile. He sold photos. He did all kinds of stuff, drugs, everything. How can the people down there say they want to take something very fishy going on? Much like they stole my inheritance and used the police and everything and just railroaded me because they didn't want me to get my money. Thank God for the FBI and Homeland Security and some of these people that had integrity and morals. Integrity and morals. And they knew, yeah, they ripped me off. And they probably have been ripping people. It's some kind of a cult or criminal crime criminals or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, and that's true. And let me tell you something, folks. It happens. It happens every day in America, the greatest country in the world. So, did they get the time wrong? It's possible they got the time wrong. I don't know what to say. It's very possible they got the time wrong. I don't believe he was just getting there. I believe he was leaving. Whether if they want to say, well, this is the surveillance camera, and on the camera it said 1:30. Did they change the time? Or does the time automatically change on their surveillance equipment? I would question that. And even if they say, no, it's the right time. Okay, he was leaving. He was already leaving that. You caught him leaving. Crimes were already done. The murders were already done. And that makes sense because they didn't take anybody's phone from the families. Because who knows? If you got no time, they can say anything. Oh, we brought them there about, I don't know, it was 1:30 to, I don't know. Without any of that data, you wouldn't know if they were telling the truth or not. So, yeah, I can see how some people are saying the whole thing is shababbled, right? They didn't test all the DNA. They didn't take any of the family members or certain people's devices. They didn't do a lot of stuff. Well, that could make sense. How would they know, right? Exactly what time the girls were there. Maybe the girls. It's funny how they ate. Now, see, this is the thing, which will go back to the autopsy, because the autopsy lady, I could have swore, said they were killed anywhere between 14 something hours, 12 to 14 hours. The girls were dead. Well, if you do that math, um, they were there earlier. So I don't know. That's pretty crazy, right? And another clue, they had pancakes that morning, banana pancakes or whatever it was. Uh, and the autopsy would have shown if they ate and exactly what time they ate and what time the food digested. So there would have been remnants in the small intestine, large intestines of food. That also would have determined how long they were how long they were there before the food started digesting, or they would have said the food was already digested and entered the small intestine or the so they ate uh, 2 hours before their death. I think it takes 2 to 4 or something like that, or 2 to 4 hours for the food to digest in your stomach and then move into the digestive tract. And that was a clue, all that evidence. And if they would have had the proper people, if they would have spent the proper money and had criminal autopsy guys and all these, they would have known that. So either they got the time wrong or the whole dang thing is schnoodled. And now they were saying, well, Abby was, they were going to give Abby an inheritance or land or something like that for something. Well, I don't know. That now people are saying, well, they were killed because they were the school gave them a bunch of land or something. I don't know about that. Could it be true? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not worried about that. Could it be a motive? Oh, well, sure. I mean, if people are that greedy, right? Gluttons about money, power, and all, it's possible, but I don't think so. It leads more to, and it might have been that. And they hired this crew down there that were pedos and drug dealers and bikers and lions and tigers. Oh my. Uh, yeah, anything is possible, folks, when Satan's trying to cover up that he stole your world, stole your life, and he'll cover any tracks to cover up the lies in front of God. So I do believe that they might have got the time mixed up. The autopsy would have showed exactly when they ate. There's plenty of footage out there that said they had breakfast that morning before they left. And that, my ladies and gentlemen, would have told exactly what time. And if any of this story that they were creating was even true, by having the proper investigators and proper forensic autopsies done and test, but they just didn't spend the money. Or they didn't want to for some reason or something. Now, and what we also have to keep in mind is these same people that were suspects might be affiliated with the police, might be Odins, might be Freemasons, might be people that they have to cover for because they're the brothers. For all you folks know, Richard Allen was a Mason or an Odinist or a club, gang, or whatever you guys want to call it down, MC club, whatever. We don't know really. So I do believe it's possible, and I might be wrong, that the time's wrong. He was leaving at 1:30 and the murders were already done. And there is no one walking in that video. Everyone, you could see someone walking as his car. There is nobody in that video. And I do believe that might have been, they might have had the right people in at the right time. And if they gave testament that they saw someone there, then they're going to think there was somebody there when there really wasn't. Right? I do believe when you see Richard Allen, he's leaving. He's taking the long way home. I mean, either way he went, whether it was, no matter where he pulled out of his little subdivision, whether he went right or left, he went in a circle. He came from one way and left another way and completed the circle. And I think he was already leaving. Now, like I said, I could be wrong. He could have been just getting there, but then the times ain't adding up. Right? Because there was people out there. People seen him at certain times. Things just ain't adding up. He says he's seen 3 girls, but then he said, I didn't see them 3 girls on the bridge. I seen 3 girls here. Well, you seen them 3 girls because they were walking. You were sitting on the bench. Them 3 girls were somebody. We know 2 of them was Abby and Libby. Whatever happened to the other one, I don't know. Them were the 3 girls. And it's just, and like I said, I could be wrong. But I think they got the time up because he said he got home. And I mean, he's changing his story so much. The first time he said he got home about 11 o'clock. And he grabbed his jacket and left his house, went out to the bridge. And that could be wrong. He might not have even went to his mother's that day. Why? Well, they could be lying. They knew he was in a bad jam. Are they going to lie for their own son? Well, we've seen people lie for their family even though they're guilty. Friends and everybody lie even though they're guilty. And just because there was none of Richard Allen's DNA there does not mean he didn't have anything to do with it or was the murderer. For one, the murder weapon was a knife. The girls weren't shot. So it's a good chance they got everything mixed up. And not the police, that the police might have been lied to, right? Well, because they didn't take any of the data, any of the phones they only concentrated on certain people. Well, them people could have been lying. Now, it could be that the FBI was watching this whole thing from behind the scenes. It could be possible the FBI got all this data, all this phone data, without the police even knowing. Because it might have been corrupt down there. They already caught a couple cops that were down there that they knew were corrupt and lied about many cases. So it makes sense to me. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's just my opinion. When did Richard get there? Was it 1:30, 2 o'clock? Or was he leaving at 12:30, 1:30, somewhere around there? I mean, if he got there at 1:30 and he walks, if he parked all the way at the CBF, the old CBF building or whatever it was, and then had to walk all that way to the bridge, that's pretty far distance to walk. It's going to take a little time, right? And the girls were supposed to be picked up. What time did they say it was? 3:30 or something like that, or 4 o'clock? That's a real short span to do that. He must have went in there. It don't make sense. I think it was before, right? He was watching them. Someone was watching them. It might not even been Richard. It might have been someone else watching them. And they alerted Richard maybe to the girls are going to be there. He came home, went out there, and did whatever. Maybe. Maybe. It's very well possible. So I do think they got a lot of stuff wrong. Uh, and like I said, folks, if you're dealing with the Odins, there's thousands of them. They're even up here. If you're dealing with a Masonic lodge, uh, the Freemasons or whatever, then yeah, they're all going to team up. They're all going to cover for their brother. That's one of their rules. Back in the day, if you were a Freemason, you had to go in front of the judge. And before anything, you would tell the judge, I'm a Freemason. And if that judge was a Freemason, then his job was to do his best to get you out of that crime. And if you don't believe me, do your history. That's what they did. Back in the olden day, if you were a Freemason and you were found or arrested and brought in front of a judge, you were that was number one thing. I'm a Freemason, judge. And then that judge, if that judge was a Freemason, his job is to get you out of trouble. Now, a lot of you folks said I don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. You have your opinions. I've been ran through the ringer, tore upside down. Yeah. So I know for a fact that these things are possible. And there might have been police that were Freemasons. And that is their job to help their brothers out. I'm sorry, folks, but that is the truth. At least the truth or knowledge that I know and seen. Okay? It's I'm sorry, that is a proven fact. So it makes sense why these people got away with a lot of things, even doing it to me. And I was a sinner, and I did deserve some of the things I did when I was younger. I was a little pain in the butt, cocky, and all kinds of stuff. Uh, you know, a world given to me, someone I wasn't, lies, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, yeah, brainwash. Oh yeah, it happens. It happens, folks. Like do your history with all these cults and doomsday cults now, Scientology, all this stuff. They will lie all the way to the bank as they watch you suffer and create lies and, and and steal and use all your information. Yeah, yeah. That I'm here to testify to that, Lord. Yes, it is true. So that's just my opinion, right? And I could be wrong, Lord. I could be wrong. No, that's what I feel. That's the knowledge I was. Now it could be different now, right? They might not do it that way anymore. But back in the olden days, that's the way they did it. If you were a Freemason, either you gave a sign to the judge or you came out and said you were a Freemason. And if that judge was a Freemason, he didn't have to tell you that judge didn't have to tell you he was a Freemason. No one might not have known that that judge was a Freemason. But that judge knew, if he was ever told that, or a sign was given to him when these people came up in front of him, uh, that would be the sign, or someone saying they were a Freemason. And that judge, his job was to help his Mason brothers. So, yeah, and that's probably how they've been getting away with the billions that they took from me and the things they do to me. Yeah. I hope one day, I hope I live long enough to see the glory of the truth and integrity. Some of these people know what they did. And I applaud these people. And some of the FBI, Homeland Security, and other branches and other people uh, know that I never received any of that money, and if it is, it's sleight of hand, right? It was. I know what I know what the government and the Lord is saying now. It was sleight of hand, right? I was inherited big money, and they knew it. And then they said, "Well, here's your inheritance." It was $5, when really it was 50 trillion, right? Oh, we gave him his money. He got his money. We gave it to him, right? He got his $10. Yeah, I agree, Lord. And now someone else pointed out some other stuff in the Delphi case, right? That is very interesting. And I'm not sure if it's true or not, but it's possible. And like I've always said on this channel, anything is possible when something this evil is done. You could bet your butt they ain't gonna tell you they know anybody when they really did. They ain't gonna tell you that they talked to anybody behind the scenes on their phones or whatever, you know, but they really did. Who knows? You folks have a great day. We got some rain this morning. We might have a little bit more. It is a little chilly, a little windy. I'm gonna do some more chores around here and keep an eye on the weather. God bless everybody. Um, and the funny thing is most of these people, if you would have gave them the money first, they probably would have helped the family and the rest of these people out, right? They probably would have. Why? Because they were family. That's probably why, But they didn't. They shenangled, and you have to remember, folks. An inheritance, uh, it grows over time. So if you were left a couple $1,000,000, uh, and it's been 20, 30 years, that money grew into millions, millions and millions of dollars with inflation and interest and everything. They probably made a lot of money by just holding on to it. Yeah, you know, yeah, I could see how they do this. And they might have had an insurance agent in on it, uh, and cops and corrupt people, right? When you're dealing with millions and millions of dollars, they divvy it up, right, between all of them. Only in America. Only in America. How you doing there, Mr. Trump? I see Bobby's out here today. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Bobby Kennedy, Robert. He's out here in Indiana today. We're doing the Make Indiana Healthy Again. Um, so he's out here talking and everything. Big speech. How you doing, sir? Yeah, let's lower the prices so we can eat eggs. They say eggs are good for you. Yeah, I watch this one dude on YouTube. He's got chickens in his garage. That dude's got unlimited eggs. It's just he eats eggs all day. Egg salad, eggs, eggs, eggs. Just an unlimited supply from just a couple chickens. It's unbelievable. And they're what, six? I think they're 6.87 a dozen here, all the way. If you get the good ones, 12.39 a dozen of eggs. Or I think that might be a baker's dozen or whatever it is. 12. No, wait. 24. 24 eggs, $13 or something like that. I don't know. You folks have a great day. I got the door open. It is a little chilly out this morning, but it feels good. Now, you people down south, you keep that hot weather down there. One of my mods said that it was 84 yesterday by her down south. They're on the. You keep that hot weather away from us for now. We're loving this weather we're getting right now, uh, because we know eventually it's going to get hot, but we're trying to hold on to this cool temps here as long as we can. It's cutting down on our electric bill with having the air conditioner going. Uh, Excuse me. Now, you folks have a great day. Yes, I'm here to testify, Lord. My whole world was uh, ripped away from me. Whether it was because of my sins, whether it was because maybe I was so cocky because I became something when I was an idiot and I had a disability, mental problems, and I still do. Maybe people just hated that I was a good looking dude, had a six pack, and uh, I loved life, whatever it may be. I'm here to testify it was true. Had a rough life. So have so many others that were around me. Yeah. So did so many others. I'm here to testify that they had a bad life. In Jesus' name, amen. Now, like I said, I'm stuck in the middle, right? It's like the double Johns I'm dealing with, and I'm getting all the blunt from it, but it had nothing to do with me. Uh, have a great night. God bless. And like I said, it is very possible they got the time wrong when Richard Allen did the murders. It's very possible that the what we're hearing is wrong. The murders were committed. There's other evidence other than the round, the gun, that solves crimes. I don't know how many cases that there was no DNA left, but the cases were still solved, and the people that did it were arrested. Now, like I said, there's a lot of things blocking this. There's a lot of things blocking the Delphi case. Some of it was created, I do believe, to throw people off, or they were covering for their gang or club or secret society. And I do believe some of these guys were telling the truth. We've been watching these folks. I went down. God bless everyone. All glory goes to God. I'm still here, although I wander away from God once in a while because I get angry, and I would rather not be uh, around the Lord when I'm angry or stupid or anything like that. And I do that to some family too. I would rather just not be around family when there's right. You just give it time, let the anger leave and all that, and that's how I am. And I don't care. I'll just stay in this apartment for another 50 years. Right? I've turned into Howard Hughes, where I don't. I just uh, you know you just you just want to be away. I don't know. You folks have a great day. God bless. And remember, anything is possible in a murder case. And Richard Allen, somebody must not have liked Richard Allen. If he's innocent, then somebody or something he knew, somebody set him up. That's also possible. Very possible. And that's all I can say. Me myself, I think he was there. He knows it. He lied. I think he was the only one there, or he didn't have help? I think there was others that knew. I don't know. For one, he told his wife that he was never even there that day, so that was a red flag from the word go. Right? He's telling his wife he wasn't there, and all this happens, and she comes out. You said You weren't there. And he's, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Well, if you were any kind of investigator, uh, if she knew Richard had, Richard did say, "You're gonna make my wife real rich if you kill me." Right? Well, did Richard's mother or did Richard's wife know he had life insurance or whatever? You guys got to start thinking. No, it's possible. It's possible he was set up by something. Maybe, but I'm not. I don't think so. Because why? Well, there's only so many black Ford Escort hatchbacks at that time in Indiana and in Delphi. And one at a time, them vehicles were hunted down and went through. And there was only one that was around that area at that time, and that was Richard Allen's vehicle. So someone within his family or someone had that vehicle. I don't know. You folks have a great day. God bless. My phone's ringing like it all does all the time. Talk to you later.